Did Jungkook just open an old wound that Taehyung had been hiding? The question that should never have been asked was finally asked, and Taehyung's answer left the army speechless. What exactly has Taehyung been hiding from Jungkook? Why did the question of his family make the atmosphere suddenly quiet? Is this the beginning of a rift in a relationship that has always looked perfect? What happened to Jungkook? He really shouldn't have asked that. But Taehyung answered ANYW why nothing prepares us for a moment like this. Not a single army expected that such a seemingly simple moment, just one brief question, which sounded so ordinary on the surface, would become the starting point of the unfolding of something deeper, darker, and more painful than anyone had ever imagined. Jungkook, with an innocent look and a voice that almost whispered, asked Taehyung about the thing he had never touched, his family, and this is where everything changes. Why did Jungkook do it? Why was he asking about a thing that even the closest staff knew not to touch? Is it because he feels more and more distant from the best friend who used to be so open to him? Was there something he felt all this time, but couldn't confirm until the question finally came out, just like that? Is your family okay now? That question hangs in the air. Simple, but like a knife that pierces the space of trust that has been built up over the years. Taehyung looked at Jungkook, not answering immediately. And when he finally spoke, his voice wasn't what it used to be. Not the typical light laughter of V, not the jokes that often make the atmosphere liquid, but calm down, inside, and barely shaking. Actually, I never wanted to talk about this, not even to you, Jungkook. Is their relationship really as intimate as we think? Or has there been something Taehyung has kept hidden, even from those closest to him? What makes him so secretive about his family? And why did Jungkook, who is usually very sensitive, choose to cross that line? This is the moment that made thousands of armies around the world stop breathing for a moment while watching it. Not because of the hoopla or the drama, but because of the real flavor that flows from the screen. Silence. Gazes penetrate each other. And the fact that even their deepest friendship can be struck by one sentence, and behind it all, an even scarier question arises. What exactly is going on in Taehyung's family? Many have noticed that Taehyung very rarely talks about family in interviews. While other members often share funny stories or warm moments about their parents and siblings, Taehyung prefers to remain silent. Some thought it was because he was just a private person. But is it really that simple? Some longtime fans know that Taehyung once mentioned his grandmother who raised him. But the rest? It was as if there was an invisible wall that limited. Until now, no one knows for sure why he keeps such a distance in discussing his family. Jungkook probably didn't mean to hurt. But the question opens up old wounds. And the way Taehyung responded slowly, as if forcing himself to swallow back everything he'd once held, made it all very real. I love you, Taehyung said quietly. But our relationship is not what you think. I didn't grow up laughing. I grew up with a lot of questions and very few answers. Why did this statement make the army cry? Because for the first time, we don't see Taehyung as BTS's charismatic visual figure. We don't see him as a smiling celebrity. We see him as a child whose heart is wounded and who goes to great lengths to hide it even from his closest friends. And Jungkook, he looks devastated. His face changed. No one expected that he would react like that. Not because of shame or anger, but because of the guilt that was so clearly reflected in his eyes. I just wanted to know, because you seem to be drifting away lately, Jungkook whispered, and this is where another big question arises. Did Taehyung deliberately stay away from Jungkook? If so, why? What has been going on between them lately until the question was raised? The video recording of this conversation went viral in a matter of minutes. Comments flooded. Army from different countries began to collect pieces of clues, find out what really happened. One fan even found out that a few weeks before the conversation, Taehyung posted a very ambiguous IG story, a picture of a gray sky with one short sentence. Sometimes it's better to be quiet. Is that a clue? Has Taehyung been trying to say something all this time, but can't say it directly? Is all this the culmination of emotions that have been held back? Jungkook didn't say anything after hearing that explanation. He just sat, silent, staring at the floor. And that moment became one of the quietest yet loudest moments ever recorded in BTS history. A few seconds later, Taehyung stood up. He hugged Jungkook. Thank you for caring. But maybe there's something I'm not ready for. And with that sentence, the world stopped for a moment, because although it sounds simple, the sentence contains the world. Contain the pain, containing trauma, contain restrictions, and contains love which persists even though it does not always have to be explained. Will their relationship change after this? Will Jungkook feel he has gone too far? Or will it make them stronger than before? No one knows for sure. But one thing is for sure. Sometimes, a single question can open the door to all the emotions that have been locked tightly, and in this case, that door is already open. And we can all just watch, while wondering, what exactly happened in Taehyung's past? And why would he be so scared if Jungkook found out? The atmosphere in the room did not melt. Although the hug has taken place, although the phrase, "thank you for caring," has been said, the atmosphere that has remained is exactly the opposite. Silence. Heavy. And very real. Jungkook sat there, staring at one point without focus, as if he had just realized something he had been ignoring. As if, behind their laughter and togetherness, there was an abyss he had never seen. Does Jungkook feel guilty? Or does he feel betrayed by the fact that Taehyung keeps so much, even from him? That question haunts many ARMY rewatchers of the footage. There was something in Jungkook's eyes that couldn't be explained. Not just guilt, but as if he was regretting something deeper, and this is where the truth begins to unravel. Little by little, one former BTS staff member, whose identity has been kept secret, revealed that Taehyung was very secretive about his family from the start. Even when other members invite their families to big concerts, Taehyung often comes alone or accompanied by a manager. Many assumed it was due to schedule or personal reasons, but according to the staff, Taehyung often shows signs of pressure when there are conversations about family. His eyes changed, his expression locked. We all know, don't touch that part too far. And now, Jungkook feels it too. Over the years, Jungkook and Taehyung have become inseparable friends. They shared rooms, dreams, laughter, and the most difficult moments of BTS's career. But how could Jungkook not know about the dark side of his best friend's childhood? Did Taehyung deliberately hide it? Or is Jungkook too busy believing in the perfect picture he wants to see? An old video has gone viral again. In the video, which dates back to the early days of BTS's debut, Taehyung is seen holding back tears during a private interview session. At that time, the interviewer asked, "What do you miss most about your hometown?" And Taehyung's answer, just one word, answer. The word was never discussed again. But now, after all this, the word feels like a delayed scream. Is Taehyung looking for answers from his family? Has he lived all this time in uncertainty, in agonizing silence? And why is Jungkook, who is so sensitive, only realizing now? Some fans began to pull the red thread from Taehyung's old posts. One of the most striking was a post Taehyung posted in the Weverse community a year ago. He wrote, "Sometimes home is the strangest place. Sometimes you can sit at the dinner table and feel like a misplaced guest." Is this about his family? Has Taehyung ever felt unwelcome in his own home? Did she ever keep it all to herself, even as the world adored her as the perfect figure? Jungkook, who was reading the article at the time, even replied with a light joke. But now, after that personal conversation, the joke turned into a wound. An emotional slap. The night after the incident, Jungkook reportedly did not show up for dinner with the staff and other members. He locked himself in his room. A staff member revealed that Jungkook looked devastated and only said one sentence that is hard for anyone to forget. "I think I know everything about him. But as it turned out, I didn't even know half of it." And here is the most emotional moment that happened a few days after the incident. Jungkook, silently, writes a hand letter. Not for the media, not for the ARMY, but for Taehyung. The letter was never published. But the contents of the letter, in part, leaked to the internal forum of HYB staff. "Taehyung아? I don't know what to say. I'm sorry I asked. But I'm more sorry that I never asked earlier. I'm afraid of losing you, not as a member, but as the person who understands me the most, and who I want to understand more than anyone. If you need a place, I'm here." What made Jungkook so devastated? Is it because of guilt, or because for the first time he realizes that physical closeness does not always mean emotional closeness? And Taehyung, how did he react? According to an internal source, Taehyung did not immediately reply. But a few days later, he plays an old song during their private rehearsal, a song that only he and Jungkook know the meaning of. The song they recorded secretly while still trainees, titled Secret Room. The lyrics of the song are about a place where one can hide from the world without fear of being judged. And for old fans, it's no coincidence. It's a symbol, the symbol that even though Taehyung was hurt, he still opened that door for Jungkook. But the big questions have not stopped. What exactly happened in Taehyung's past? What did he hide from the family that made him so secretive, even after he became a world superstar? Is there a trauma that has not been healed? And one of the most painful questions of all, is Jungkook's questioning a form of caring, or a betrayal of the trust he's built so far? ARMY split. Some praised Jungkook's bravery for finally asking what everyone was avoiding. But others feel that the boundaries of privacy should be kept, even in the deepest of friendships. But despite all this, there is one indisputable fact. This moment has changed everything. It's not just the relationship between Taehyung and Jungkook, but also the way the world sees them. Now, the two are no longer just idols. They are human beings, with wounds, with questions, and with answers that aren't always easy to say. The next exercise felt odd. Usually, Taehyung and Jungkook are the two figures who laugh the loudest, most actively break the atmosphere. But that day, silence enveloped both. They were present, yes. They sing, dance, interact as usual. But it all felt like a charade. Jimin glanced at both of them several times. Even Yoongi, who is usually more quiet and prefers not to interfere in personal matters, looks at them more intensely. There's something strange. Something feels broken. And then, during a training session, something unusual happens. Jungkook mispronounces the lyrics. It's not that it's not memorized, it's impossible. But because his mind is clearly not in the same place. He was silent. Stalled. Then, without prompting, exit the studio at a fast pace. The rehearsal camera recorded all that. And Taehyung just stared at his distant back, silent. Not chasing. Why isn't he chasing? Is it because I'm still angry? Or because he knows that some wounds must heal on their own, without being touched? That day, Jin, who had just returned from another activity, caught up with Jungkook. Accompanied by RM, they spent time together in the back room. No recording, no photos. But one of the staff relayed one thing that gave anyone goosebumps. The sound of Jungkook's crying could be heard from behind the wall. Heavy, inside, and full of regret. I don't know why I should ask that, Jungkook said, his voice quiet behind the door. But I can't stand it. I know he's hiding something. I just want him to know that I'm here, but it hurts him. And that's the biggest dilemma of true love and friendship. Sometimes, in trying to love someone right, we touch the wound they're not ready to open a few days after the incident. Taehyung posted a photo on social media. Not the face, not a selfie, but an old painting, gray in color, which shows the figure of a small child standing by the window, looking at the sky. The caption is only 2 words. Time is lost. The army reacted immediately. They know it's not just an art post. This is a statement. A phrase from the bottom of the heart that has never really spoken. That what's missing from Taehyung? What is a quiet childhood? Is it freedom to be a loved child without pressure? Or is it the time he should have spent with his family, but instead was filled with confusion, distance, and questions that were never answered? Fans began to dig up old interviews. Apparently, in a BTS documentary released a few years ago, Taehyung mentioned that he didn't grow up in a house that laughed a lot. The sentence went unnoticed at the time. But now, with all that was happening, the sentence sounded like a silent plea that was finally heard. And then, an unexpected moment happened. In a sudden live broadcast session, which was not announced in advance, Taehyung appeared on the screen. Sitting alone, wearing a black hoodie, and looking tired. There is no filter. No fancy background. Only he, and the sound of rain heard from the window. Many of you ask about me, he said quietly, his eyes not looking at the camera. And I think it's time for me to be honest, even just a little bit. The entire fandom fell silent. The post was immediately trending. Tens of thousands of people entered in seconds. And Taehyung starts talking about his childhood. I was raised by my grandmother. My parents, they're busy. They have their own business. Sometimes there is, sometimes not. I don't blame them, but I can't say I'm happy either. His voice trembled. And as he took a deep breath, Army knew that what he was going to say next wasn't going to be easy. Sometimes I come home, and my house is empty. Sometimes I feel closer to the sound of the TV than the human voice. And at this point, millions of hearts around the world are broken. Taehyung didn't tell me everything, but enough to open a window into his soul. The window that had been tightly closed, even from his own best friend, Jungkook. Jungkook, he's always curious, Taehyung continued. And sometimes it's good, but this time it hurts. But not because he was wrong, but because I'm not ready. Then, in a barely audible voice, Taehyung said something that left the whole world speechless. And I'm scared. I'm afraid if he finds out, he'll never see me again. Is this Taehyung's biggest fear so far? Afraid that if others find out about his fragile side, they will stay away? Is that why he built an image as a charismatic, mysterious, and confident figure to protect a fragile part of himself? After the broadcast, Jungkook did not speak on social media, not make a statement, not live. But the next day, while they were performing at a private event for selected fans, something happened on stage. Before singing their emotional ballad, Jungkook steps closer to Taehyung. In front of everyone, he hugged her. Old, without a word. And the camera catches Jungkook whispering in Taehyung's ear, I'm not leaving. The footage immediately went viral. The army is crying. The other members remained silent. Even the show's MC was seen holding back tears. Because the moment is not just a hug. It was a promise. The promise that even though the wounds have opened, the love between them persists. However, unanswered questions still hang. Will all this change their relationship forever? Or will it make them stronger than before? And more importantly, will Taehyung finally find the courage to fully open that wound, not just to Jungkook, but to himself? The silence didn't just bind Taehyung and Jungkook. It propagates, permeates, infiltrates the atmosphere that is usually filled with laughter and familiarity behind the scenes of BTS rehearsals. The silence radiated into the conversations in the waiting room, into the pauses between recordings, even to the dinner table during a joint dinner. And the one who felt it the most was not only the two of them, but also the third person who was closest emotionally to both of them, Park Jimin, who has always been the balance between the two sides of that emotion, between Taehyung's cold charisma and Jungkook's intense warmth, begins to look restless. He knew something was wrong, but not because he heard. Precisely because he did not hear anything. And of all those most familiar with the dynamics of Taekook's friendship, Jimin was the one who could best read the slightest change point one night. When Jungkook falls asleep in the recording room after repeating his vocal take dozens of times alone, Jimin enters slowly. He sat on the floor, looked at Jungkook from a distance, then took a deep breath. If you feel hurt because you try to go too deep, it means that you really love him sincerely, she whispered softly, perhaps to herself. Or maybe wished Jungkook could hear it even in his sleep. And when the staff camera captured the moment accidentally, Army realized something. Jimin was also injured, because how can he not get burned when two people closest to him accidentally hurt each other? How could he not feel torn apart when his own emotional shelter 2 figures he loved like family were separated by wounds they never planned? And then RM, the figure of the leader who has been known to be wise, calm, and calculating. But even he could not hide the unrest that is now beginning to eat away at their togetherness. In an interview for an international magazine, when asked about the group's dynamics,